Welcome to the Make and Design podcast. Today I have something special for you. I had my friend Susie Tomenchuk come over and we chatted about negotiation. She's a negotiation expert. She deals with it in a corporate setting, but I asked her to talk about it in terms of dealing with freelance, in terms of dealing with designers and online platforms. And I think you are going to love what she has to say. So without further ado, Susie Tomenchuk.
Hey guys, I am so excited because I have my good friend here, Susie Tomenchuk. She is an amazing speaker. She does all kinds of cool corporate events and she's just brilliant. She has an amazing book called The Art of Negotiation Without Manipulation. Did I get that right?
The Art of Everyday.
The Art of Everyday. I mean, it was a book that was sitting in my desk for like a year.
Of course it was.
It's fantastic. It's so good. And you might be like, how does this relate to me as a designer? I own my own business. I don't necessarily have to deal with other people or employees because a lot of times you're working in a corporate setting. Is that right,
Yes,
Susie?
I do work in corporate mostly, yes.
Yeah. So for the individual entrepreneur who instead is navigating the world and having to deal with corporate, right? Because you're dealing with online platforms, you're dealing with freelance, you're working with a corporation and doing, I thought it would be really great to hear from Susie to talk to her a little bit about, what are some great strategies for dealing with those types of things. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like politics, right?
Yeah, totally. It is. And I first want to say, we talk about the word negotiation and we all have a different relationship with it. And it's because we have bad experiences. And we all have a different bad experience around that. We felt like we were manipulated. We felt like taken advantage of, all these things. So I want to get people really comfortable with that word. We're negotiating right now. We're negotiating a conversation. We're negotiating in everything we do with our family, with our kids, with our partner. In an entrepreneur, of course, when you're hiring vendors, when you're working with your people, even having a difficult conversation to reset expectations with somebody that works for you is a negotiation. And so having even that shift in your lens of how you look at it and how you repair that relationship so that you understand how do you leverage the strategies that great negotiators use that'll just make you a better business owner and better person, better human.
But don't you think, especially, I hate to say this, women, we get really nervous about negotiation because it feels like, and I love that you had the word manipulation in your book title, because we're like, we don't want to be manipulative. We want so badly to give this authentic experience, especially when we own our own things. And I hate to say this, but in particular, you guys listening to this, you are vulnerable. Many of you are introverts. You're artists at heart. You want to give to the world so badly. And so then it feels hard when you tell people, I want to be paid for my art, that you want to work well with people, but you want to get paid for what you do, and you feel almost ick about it.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, that you feel ick about it. I actually really like that a lot. And I think what I would say is really understand your value. And whether you need to get that from comparing yourself to others in terms of whatever you create, what is the market value? How do you get inputs from other places? And while you think about when you buy something you really value and it was more than you expected it to be, when you really love it, you're willing, it might take you a little bit more time to figure out how do you finance it. But if you really want something, you'll do it. And you actually value it more. So when we value ourselves, we're articulating that to the people that are buying it. And so it's important to really hone that for yourself and understand that you're giving something to somebody else, but you're also running a business. And I'm not saying it's an easy thing. It's definitely a balance that you need to find for yourself as an entrepreneur. I struggle with that sometimes. I'm like, because I can do the math on what it takes me to get ready to facilitate a team activity. And I'll try to calculate it by hours. And that person on the other side is not doing the same math as me. So think about what are they looking at? What math are they using? And when you spin it like that, it gives you the words and the confidence to really sell it.
I think that's really hard, though. I love that you said that, because one of the things I first learned it from you was this whole idea of anchoring. Mm-hmm. This is like a million years ago. I feel like we talked about this anchoring thing, because the truth is, I don't know what the expectation is for the person on the other side. So one of the things that we do, especially if you are in Design Suite or you're at the University of Arts and Design, we talk about, you start at an online platform. So it's maybe Etsy or Amazon Homemade or something, right? On the other side of things, I don't know where they're at. So will you talk a little bit about anchoring a little bit? We'll take it away from online platforms. Let's pretend it's a freelance job, okay?
Yeah.
So someone calls me and says, Carina, I have a logo I have to do for you.
Yes.
Or I want a logo. I would love a logo. Do you have time to do a logo? Then you go, okay, how much do I charge for that logo?
Yes.
Dang it! Like, how do I come up with that number, right?
Right. I start thinking about that at the very beginning of the conversation because inevitably, especially if you've never worked with a person, they're going to ask you, what is the price? And so if you can just start to think about, as they're talking to you, what data do you need? So asking questions to kind of pull more out of that. And anchoring, I love this situation. It's such a great one. Anchoring would sound like this. Well, Carina, I see what you're looking at, and I need to really take a little bit more time to really consider what it'll take me to do this logo. But when I think about when I've done this in the past, it's been anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 for clients. How does that feel to you?
Interesting. So you anchor with an actual number,
Mm-hmm.
but what if, and is there ever a situation where you don't anchor with a number at all? Instead, the person on the other end is the one who anchors
Absolutely.
it. Okay.
Absolutely. And so that would sound like, well, there's a lot of different directions that we could take this project. What budget do you have in mind? What did you want to pay for something like this? And then the key is, shut up. Be totally silent.
That was like the best advice ever. Shut up. And I love the way, do you notice the way Susie did that? I mean, this is why you're so good at this, Susie. It's just like, it felt direct. It felt soft. It didn't feel hard. It was just kind of like, what budget are you thinking of doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be this hard line, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm trying to get this number out of this person. Like, what budget are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the crazy thing that I bet this happens to you as well. Every time I do that, the person almost always comes out way higher than I was ever going to quote them.
I know. And then you have to make sure your reaction doesn't illustrate that. You have to practice that too and be like, I think we could do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good number.
Yeah, I think I can work within that.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
Yes.
You also, when they say that, it's a much larger number, you don't go, no problem, yes.
Yeah.
Because then you've just signaled to them that your number was a lot lower and you want to be honoring of the relationship and you want to say, I think we could do that. I'm really excited. Let me work up something and I'll ship it off to you.
Yeah.
So you want to really neutralize your emotion around it and be thoughtful about how do you articulate that, because then that makes them feel like they're taking care of me.
Yes, that is so good. Tell me this, what if the number is way lower than you were thinking? Like maybe my budget was, I'm willing to do this, whatever branding, whatever project for at minimum $2,000.
Yeah.
But they drop an $1,000 number.
Yeah.
What do you do at that point?
Yeah, well, I love what you did there. You gave yourself a floor. Even if you don't know very much about it, go into the call kind of having a baseline so that you know. So that when they throw out that number, it doesn't totally trip you up. But you have to, when somebody anchors on you, the thing that you have to do quickly is to just re-boomerang that and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize we're pretty far off. I would normally do like 3 times more than that. See, I didn't give you a real number.
Yeah,
I gave you a concept.
Yeah.
But I do normally do like 3 times more than that. Is your budget pretty firm?
Oh.
And if they say, yes, I only have $1,000, say, I think that's great. I bet I could find somebody that could do that. So if you want me to, I can find a referral for you. Because I just don't know that I can do that. I mean, it's really important not to go below what your baseline is. And that means you have to understand what your baseline is. Mm-hmm. And that can be hard to do. Getting that clarity is really important because then you avoid a negotiator hangover.
Yeah.
Because you know that, and that doesn't involve alcohol at all.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because when you don't have a base, you don't know what hit you, but you're disappointed. And you don't want to be disappointed. You don't ever want to do work that you don't feel like you're getting at least a reasonable rate.
Yes. Well, okay, so tell me this. I'm thinking about you guys. Like as you're doing this and you're like, okay, I don't have a baseline. here's the good news. Don't you think this? If it's your very first job and you didn't have the baseline, now you have the baseline, you go do the job, you decide whether it was too hard or it was reasonable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's okay if it's your first time to be like, I don't think you're going to have the hangover. I think you're going to be kind of like, okay, that was too much or that was too little. Right. And you're going to, now you have a stepping stone for the next time you do the negotiation. And what I'm trying to get at here is, as far as, especially when it comes to contracts and working with people, what I found is that it is a scale of process. Like, the more I spend time in negotiating and doing contracts with people, the better I get at it.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that data collection. And you know what else I do is I have different levels of what I charge, and I have it in a spreadsheet. And then it feels like that is data that somebody else gave me that are my rates.
It's not like,
it doesn't feel like me.
Oh, that's so
because
good.
It was past me that is way long gone.
Yes.
But then I look at it. It just happened to me the other day. Somebody on LinkedIn, I just don't like to do this. They know me, and they said, can you do a virtual 2-hour session? What would you charge? And he goes, I just need it for my boss, blah, blah, blah. And so I went to my spreadsheet, grabbed the number, and just threw it in there. And I didn't think another word about it. But had I just tried to figure that out on my own, I would have gone like half of that number.
Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. Because we don't, even though I feel confident in myself, it's so funny, I still don't trust my numbers.
Yes. I completely understand that.
That is a very interesting thing that we do to ourselves.
Well, it's funny because it has a sticker on it that has a price. That's the only evidence that that's what it costs. Mm-hmm. And we don't have things that have a price tag that is like on it. And so we believe that everybody has an exact idea of it, but it's all a negotiation. We don't know, they don't know.
That is so fascinating. You know, the other thing I noticed when we were kind of doing the back and forth on the logo thing, and you were doing that was so great. I know I'm going to go back and listen to that again, so I make sure and I have that down. But one thing I noticed is that there was always a question at the end. Like, you always asked a question back, and so that person had to respond. There was no like end statement. You guys know what I'm talking about? Sometimes it feels like a very like, this is this. It's like, that can be there. They can have an end statement, but you, like, as the negotiator, you're being smart and asking more questions. And that might be part of that data collection that you're kind of doing.
Yes.
But you said, there was a couple of times you said, and you ended with another question. And I was surprised that you ended with another question.
Because you want to go back and forth. You know, the research about women and negotiation for a very traditional negotiation is they kind of get there and they're like, okay, and they do their ask, and they're like so ready to get out because they're like kind of want to check the box. But if you can stay in it and even give yourself a metric that I'm going to go back and forth like 4 times, then you have a goal to go to. So maybe it is, I'm going to ask them for their budget. And then if they don't tell me exactly, then I'm going to ask one more question. And then if that doesn't work, I'm going to ask it just a little different way. Have you ever done a project like this before? So maybe getting those questions out and looking at it as a data collection and taking away that negotiation, but later calling it a negotiation so you can get comfortable with that word.
Yeah.
But thinking about, I'm going to stay in it even though it feels uncomfortable. It probably feels uncomfortable for the other side too.
Yes.
And so just know that you're trying to understand them more so that you can hit their number and their value of what they're looking for.
So it really is, I mean, yes, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
But like, if I am scared of the word negotiation, maybe a discussion, and a good discussion does have a lot of questions back and forth. Like, you're investigating more like, what are you really looking for? Why are you really doing this? Like, because if they have a lower budget, I'm just thinking about someone who would need a lower budget, you might be like, wait, maybe you don't need as an experienced designer as me. Maybe you just need someone who just wants the work.
Yeah.
And can do it on your budget, and you're willing to deal with a little bit more inexperience.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus someone who's like, I just want it done right the first time. I want a designer who knows what they're doing. They can look at the business aspects, and I want to pay that price so I can just get it done and make sure I'm done. I'm working with a real professional.
Yeah. And I just want to say, on the flip side of that, when you were talking, I was thinking about something that might be helpful for your audience too, is don't ever send out a number or a proposal without having a discussion, because you want to know they're just as valuable as it is for you to understand more. their reaction is so important to you.
Why is the reaction important?
Because then you'll know how far you are off. And you never come off a number. So say I'm doing that logo project and I'm like, Carina, okay, I'm ready. I've collected. I kind of know your budget, but I'm going to go over your budget. Say you told me it was $3,000. It's only been a few minutes, but I can't remember what your number was. So 2,000. Okay, it was 2,000, but I feel really comfortable that it should really be 4. Mm-hmm. So I get on the phone with you. I'm going to go through the proposal with you, and I'm going to tell you all about this. And I know this doesn't really match your number, but I want to tell you what are the components of it so you understand what I'm going to deliver. And
okay,
so then
you're really breaking it down.
So you break it down. And then if you still say, you know what, I only have $2,000, what can you do for me? You never come off your number. Even if you come off your number, you always do it in association with something else. Well, that's fine. And then I won't give you. So what you guys should do is in your bid, overbid. So say you ask me for one, I'm making this up because I'm not a designer, one format. Like of a design.
One format of that logo design.
Yes.
Instead of like 3 versions plus the stationery plus the
yes.
business card plus
but
whatever.
In the proposal you should put all that in.
Yes. So you put all of that in the proposal.
Yes.
Like you're like, I'm doing the whole brand
yes.
situation. I'm going to choose your colors and stuff. But instead you're like, listen, for that amount I'm willing to do the one logo format and I will choose your brand colors
yep.
for you and those will all be set and ready to
yep.
go.
So how I present it to you is this. You know, Carina, I know that you really like to have all the options. So my proposal, I really looked at how I could really deliver this in a way that really met the goals of your business, giving you a lot of latitude, understand. So I'm telling you why it's really important, right? And so then you go through all of those details. And if you say, oh, I love that you thought about this, but the number's still too high, you can go, all right, I totally understand. I know you need that. Maybe we can add this on later. But for now, why don't we take out the stationery? I can't remember. We can take out that piece. And it doesn't have to be...
The website. The website's gone. Because the website is going to cost you $4,000.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So thinking about what can you take out that might not be as meaningful to them, you don't want it to look like fluff. Like you don't want it to be like, you know, you put a printer in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a copier in an oven, and they're like that's not what we're looking for. But when it is associated to it and it is value to them, really think about. I like to think about leverage as opportunities and options for the other side. So even if they didn't give you all those, think about what would be the best outcome. So I was thinking about, Carina, if I looked at this and not just give you a logo, but gave you something you could live with for 5 years. Because I'm going to give you all this format,
yeah.
Then you're painting a picture for them that you can come off of.
Yeah, and I actually think language is actually really important here. So often, and I hadn't heard this before I kind of got into digital coursework and that, but assets. It's so funny, like using the word assets. As designers, we never use the word assets. I'm going to tell you to use the word assets. Like I'm going to give you these assets. I'm going to give them to you in Adobe Illustrator format, so they're vector format, and you might have to do some education. That's the other thing I find with clients. If they don't understand that if they go to Fiverr and they get something for $5, they're going to get a JPEG and they're never going to be able to use it for that except for that one thing. Versus if they're working with you for $100, that you're going to give them a vector format. And by the way, all the numbers we've thrown out here, you guys are superficial, so don't use any of these numbers for any of your
from everywhere.
What I really want you to understand is like being able to very professionally be able to go through your list of everything you plan on doing for them. It's actually not just clarity for them, but it's clarity for you. Like, what are you expecting to work and do for a client? I cannot tell you the number of times where I've done a freelance job and I have in my head, I've been like, oh, these are the things I'm doing. And suddenly it's like, we're 4 revisions in, they've added a website page and they've added like 5 other things. And like, I'm still getting paid the same amount. And I'm like, how did this happen? You know? And suddenly I'm doing like 20 to 40 hours more of work on a freelance job where I only was getting $500 for it. That is the thing that is really great about what Susie's telling us to do. It gives us a structure, not just for them, but for us.
Yeah, right. Because then you've like pre-negotiated the add-ons, because there's nothing worse than scope creep. When you're building a relationship, when you're trying to get in the day-to-day and you're done with the numbers, you don't want to go, and by the way, but when you can just say, we talked about that, hey, just so you know, that's an added here. That happens to all of us, but build it in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good, you guys. We do have to end today, but holy cow, this was amazing. Susie, if people want to go get your book, where can they get your book?
They can get it on Amazon. The Art of Everyday Negotiation Without Manipulation. See, Carina's going to be working on that.
I'm going to work on saying that. That's like 5 times fast.
Yes. And you can get a special deal on my website, and I'll sign it for you if you're interested.
Okay.
You go to booknegotiation.com, or we'll put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes for you guys. Susie is also on LinkedIn, Susie Tomenchuk, also on Instagram and YouTube. So if you want to go check her out, just put in her name, Susie Tomenchuk. You will find her. And I cannot recommend enough her book. It was the first negotiation book I had ever read. It was like 4 years ago. And it blew my mind because I felt like it spoke to me. Because so often when I read, now I've read several negotiation books, and they're very male-oriented. They're very, I don't want to say pushy, but there's just like this feeling of aggression behind it. And I love this because I tend to be a softer person. I'm direct, but I want it to feel like a win-win. I want it to feel fair. And sometimes negotiations don't feel fair.
Yeah.
I feel like someone else has the upper hand on me all the time. And I'm like, I'm just trying to do my best. I just want to do this great job, right?
Yeah. It never feels the same to either person, though. And so don't project that on the other person.
Yeah.
But yes, I know. Negotiation is something we have to get comfortable with and kind of reset that relationship we have.
All right. Give your website one more time so that people, like, if they want to find your book.
Yeah. SusieTomenchuk.com. That's not that easy.
No, and that'll be in the notes, guys.
So yes, go to and I have a podcast too. I mean, they say don't give them too much to do.
We're giving you lots to do. We'll go to Susie's website and you will see all the good stuff there. Go check out her book. I can't recommend enough her book. I'm just so grateful Susie was here. I just
such a pleasure.
I mean, like having good friends who are so smart and doing such cool things. I just thought you guys would benefit from it here. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Want to hang out more? Go to designsuitecourses.com/free to get our weekly freebies and patterns, die cut files, and more. Can't wait to see you there.